You're most likely wondering how I managed to encounter Spikes, the plant monster, a creature created by a scientist. Well, it all started with Joe, which is most likely the friend of the scientist, who is trying to seek help, and I was the chosen one. Well, the story started off like this. I was on Mira HQ and I was the imposter, so everything seemed alright, at least for now. The lights to the map were slightly dim because we were playing hide and seek, and I went to the cafeteria waiting for the crewmates to call a meeting, so I can let them know that I'm the imposter. As I expected, the crewmates called a meeting, and they asked the question, who are the imposters? And I wanted to double check, we're playing hide and seek, right? And I was right. And that's when Joe sent a message. Have you guys heard of Spikes? He is here. And well, as a crewmate who has investigated several imposters, it definitely got my attention. So we were now back in the game and I knew that I had to eliminate the crewmates as soon as possible. So I went to the greenhouse and I had my first elimination, but then there was a bunch of pollen up in the air, and I wasn't sure if it was being released by the plants. It was a weird effect that I've never seen before in this location. I eliminated another crewmate as soon as he reported the body, which gave Joe the chance to send a few more messages. Spikes is a monster that can be found here. Make sure you guys are safe. I spawned in and the body was right next to me, which was a crewmate that I eliminated earlier. I then eliminated the last and final crewmate, which gave me the victory, but Joe didn't end there. In the lobby, he sent a few more messages in the chat. I want to tell you guys his story. The story of Spikes starts off like this, Shari. Spikes was originally a plant that was brought to life by a scientist. The scientist spilled some chemicals on the plant and was thrown away. Dark, the imposter of evil, got the plant and turned it into a monster. This imposter is Spikes, and he is now looking for revenge on the scientist who betrayed him. That's an interesting story. I really want to know more about Spikes and the scientist. So I went back to the greenhouse, which was a location that I saw the pollen in the air. I was expecting to see something, but there was nothing. And of course there was no pollen falling from the ceiling. I then entered the laboratory and I did a task. And when I got done, I saw a piece of glass on the floor, which was most likely from a broken bottle. Maybe this is a remain of whatever the scientist left behind when he accidentally created Spikes. The imposter eliminated me, and there was Joe, who was one of the guardians. Maybe he tried to protect my life, but why exactly was he watching me? Maybe this was all planned, and this is just an old memory. That's when Joe sent me a message. Let me tell you the rumor going around. Rumor has it that you can find Spikes on the map of Mira HQ. The location, of course, would be inside of the greenhouse. Your goal is to cure Spikes. We cannot have him working with the imposters. I most definitely can't let that happen. I can't let the imposters have Spikes. He was technically a crewmate creation. We should have him on our side. I was in a brand new game and I began to experience something strange. Tan seemed to be teleporting in such a weird way. I followed him over to lights. Could this be the scientist that the player was referring to? I followed the mysterious player all the way to cafeteria and he just teleported and was gone. He also seemed to have the glasses of a scientist, which was a very odd coincidence. We were now back in the game and Ali was nowhere to be seen. And then there was a sabotage that was called and it was an oxygen, which is located inside of the greenhouse, which is also the location that I can find Spikes. So I continued to do my task, since the doctor was no longer here, and I went over to admin, and I heard a very strange noise coming from the greenhouse as I was doing my task. So I made my way over to the greenhouse to see what was going on. And that's when I saw a bunch of pollen up in the air. What is happening? And that's when Spikes appeared. He was massive. My screen then glitched. And I had a different skin. And I also had a pet that looked a lot like Spikes. Why do I have this weird outfit and why is Spikes here? The other doctor did mention that he wants me to cure Spikes. So I gave Spikes a potion. This should cure him. Hopefully I made the scientist proud. He shouldn't have to worry about Spikes chasing him. If you enjoyed this story video, make sure to drop a like down below and subscribe to the channel. And check out these other stories.